Hello again and welcome to my channel. This tutorial is for a slightly different take on the shells pattern. It's shells with bobbles. I'm using double knit yarn and a 5mm hook. I'm just going to make the tutorial with pink and white, but on this one here that I've started, I'm going to make this one into a Christmas blanket because I think the colours are quite Christmassy. So like before with the shells blanket, we're going to start with a chain. I'm just going to start from the outside of the ball of yarn on this one. So we've got a slip knot onto the hook, and then we're going to do a chain of 4. So we've got 1, 2, 3 and 4. We're going to join with a slip stitch into that first stitch to form a ring. So into the ring we're going to work 8 doubles and 8 chain spaces. So the first stitch is going to be 4 chain, and that's going to count as the first double and 1 chain, and then yarn over into the ring, pick up a loop, pull through, just move that tail out of the way there, yarn over through 2, yarn over through 2, chain 1. So we've now got 2 double crochets, chain 1. Just pop that in front of there so that you can see it a little bit better. We just carry on all the way around, working a double and a chain, a double and a chain, until we've got the 8 doubles, 8 chains. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, chain 1 and 8 and chain 1. Once you've got the 8 stitches and the 8 chain spaces, we're going to join into the 3rd chain of that starting stitch, just with a slip stitch to join. So all of the chain rows where we're going to do the bobbles, I'm going to do in the white. So we need to just fasten off the yarn, pull the loop through, and your work will look like this. Now going to join in with the pink, and the pink is going to be for the shell rows. So again, start with a slip knot onto the hook, and we're going to start with the shells. So the first stitch again, I'm going to start with a standing double. So to work a standing double, I'm going to yarn over into any of the chain spaces, pick up a loop, yarn over, come through 2, yarn over and through 2. So there we've got the standing double. We're going to do another 2 doubles into that same chain space, chain 1 and 3 more doubles, all into that first chain space that we started with. So we've got 3 doubles, a chain space and 3 doubles. Into the next chain space we're going to do a single crochet, and then the following chain space again we're going to work 3 doubles, a chain 1 and 3 more doubles. This is going to form the 4 corners. We're going to single into the next chain space, and then again into this next one we're going to work 3 doubles, chain 1 and 3 doubles. Single into the next chain space, and then into this next one here we're going to do the same as before, 3 doubles, chain 1 and 3 doubles. Single into the last chain 1 space, and then we're going to join with a slip stitch into the top of that first stitch there, and we've now got a square. Just popped a box lid under the work so that you can see the colour a little bit better. Working white on a white table is not showing up too well. So once we've joined with a slip stitch, we're just going to snip off the yarn and pull through to fasten off. So we've now got the square that's going to start the blanket. We're going back now to the white yarn, and again I'm going to start with a slip knot onto the hook, and we're now going to work a standing double into any of the single crochets. Chain 1 and another double into that same space. We're going to work a single and another double into the chain space, single, chain 1 and another double into that chain space. So we've got 2 V-stitches with a chain in between, and this is going to form the new corner. We're now going to work 2 chain, and then into the 1 chain space between the 2 sets of 3 doubles, we're going to slip stitch into that chain space. Just do that again, the yarn split slightly. So slip stitch into that 1 chain space, and now we're going to form the first bobble. So the first stitch is going to be 3 chain, that counts as the first double. Going to work another 3 doubles into that same space. So that's giving us 4 stitches. Going to pull the loop up slightly. We're going to go into the top of the 3 chain with the hook, pick up the loop from that last stitch and pull it through. Pull tight, and we're going to work 1 chain to fasten off the bobble. We're now going to slip stitch back into that space, and there's the bobble formed. We work 2 chain, and then we're going to do the same into this single here as we did on this one, where we're going to work a double, a chain, a double, a chain, a double, a chain and a double. So we've got double, chain, double, chain, double, chain, double. So we're always going to have 4 doubles and a chain in between each one. So we're now ready to work onto the next bobble. So again, chain 2, and then into the chain space between the 2 sets of doubles we're going to slip stitch. Work 3 chain, which counts as the first double, and another 3 doubles. 1, 2, 3. So that's giving us 4 stitches altogether. Pull the loop up slightly into the top of the 3 chain, pick up that loop, pull it back through, pull tight, chain 1 to fasten off the bobble, and then we're going to slip stitch back into that same 1 chain space there between the 2 sets of doubles. Chain 2, and we're going to form the next corner, and that again is the doubles with the chains in between. So we've got 1 double, chain 1, double, chain 1, double, chain 1, and a final double. That's formed the 3rd corner. Chain 2, and we're back onto the bobble in this next chain 1 space. We're just going to slip stitch into that chain space, chain 3 as the first stitch, and then 3 doubles. 1, 2, and 3. I'm going to pull up the loop slightly into the top of the 3 chain, pick up the loop and pull through, chain 1 to fasten off, and slip stitch back into the chain space. Chain 2, we're going to do the last corner, which is double, chain, double, chain, double, chain and double. Chain 2, and we're going to work the last bobble into this last chain 1 space. So slip stitch into the space, chain 3, and then the 3 doubles as before. So we've got the 4 stitches into the top of the chain, pick up the loop and pull it through, chain 1 to finish off the bobble, and slip stitch back into that 2 chain space. Chain 2, we're now going to finish off by slip stitching into that first standing double that we did there, fasten off, pull the yarn through. So we've now got the new corners and we've got our first 4 bobbles. The next row is going to be again in pink, and this is going to form the shell rows, and these will be worked in these corners here. So if we start with a standing double, if you prefer not to work the standing double, you can actually join your yarn into this first chain space of any of the corners, and you can work 3 chain as the first stitch, but I sometimes think it looks a little bit neater if you work it as a standing double. So into any corner, and it's the first chain space of a corner, we're going to work the first double. Going to work 2 more doubles into that same space, with a chain 1 in between, and then 3 more doubles into that same space. We're going to work a single into the next chain space, and then the shell again, which is 3 doubles, chain 1 and 3 doubles. We're now going to work a single crochet into the bobble from the previous row. So if you just pull it forward there, you can see that there's a little gap behind the bobble itself. Pick up the loop, yarn over and pull through, and that's going to fasten down the bobble, and we've got a single that we're going to work into on the next row. So we go straight across into the next chain space and work 3 doubles, chain 1 and 3 more doubles into that same chain space. We're going to single crochet in the chain space following this shell, and then we're going to do another shell which is 3 doubles, chain 1 and 3 doubles into the next chain space, 2 and 3, chain 1 and 3 more doubles. Again, we're going to go into the back of the bobble, just poke the hook through, pick up a loop, yarn over and through the 2 loops, and that's going to anchor down that next bobble. So again, straight into the next space here, we're going to work a shell which is 3 doubles, 1 chain, 3 doubles, a single in between, and then another shell. We'll just carry on all the way around this row exactly the same way, and I'll see you when we get round to the other side. Once we've gone all the way around, you can always pause the video and rewind it a little bit if you get stuck on this row. Once we've got round to the last bobble, we've done the single in the back of the bobble, just going to join into that first double with a slip stitch, snip off the yarn, pull through. So we're now ready to go back onto the white yarn. Now this row's a little bit different. On the bobbles, we're just going to work 1 V-stitch. We're only going to work the 2 V-stitches with the chain 1 in between in the corners. So again, we're going to start in any of the bobbles. Just above the bobble we've got a single crochet. We're going to work a standing double into that stitch, followed by chain 1 and a second double into that stitch. We're going to work 2 chain, and then again we're back into the chain space in the shell where we're going to work a bobble. So slip stitch into the space, 3 chain, 3 doubles, all into that same space. And then we're going to pick up the loop, go through the top of the chain, pick up the loop, pull, oops, lost that one, pick up the loop, pull it through, pull tight, slip stitch back into that chain space, and we're going to work 2 chain, yarn over into the single that's between the 2 shells in the corners, because all the corners are going to be the same now, with the 4 doubles and the 3 chain spaces. So we've got 1 chain space, 2 and a chain space, 3 chain space and 4. So each corner will be exactly the same now, following the line on each of the corners. Chain 2, we're going to work a bobble into the middle of the shell. So slip stitch into the stitch, into the chain space, 3 chain and the 3 doubles. I think you'll know by now that that's the bobble. Into the top of the chain, pick up the loop, pull through, pull tight, chain 1 to finish the bobble, and then slip stitch into the same space. We're going to work 2 chain, and then we're going to work the V into the single that's above the bobble, so that each row, the stitches in between the corners, we're just going to have the V stitch with the 2 singles, the 2 chains at either side with the bobble in the middle. So again, 2 chain, and we're ready to go across now to the next bobble. So single, slip stitch, into the chain space, 3 chain, and work another bobble. 1, 2 and 3, into the top of the chain, pick up the loop, pull it through, chain 1 to fasten off the bobble, and then a slip stitch back into that same space, chain 2, and we're back to the corner. You'll be able to see where each of your corners are, and there we're going to do the double chain, double chain, double chain and double. So again, we've got the 4 doubles in the corner, the same as over here, with the 2 doubles with 1 chain in between. Chain 2, and we're ready for the next bobble. So slip stitch into the chain space, 3 chain, 3 doubles to work the bobble. Always remembering to just slip stitch back into the chain space to fasten off the bobble. 2 chain, and then because we've got a bobble here, we're only going to do the 1 V stitch into the single that's above that bobble. So it's just 1 double, 1 chain and 1 double. Chain 2, that takes us across to the 3rd corner where we do the 4 doubles with the chain 1 in between. So we've got 4 doubles and 3 chain spaces. Chain 2, and we're ready to do the next bobble. So each of the shells, oops, I've missed off the bobble there. Let me just pull that back. Sorry about that. Slip stitch into the chain space. Like I say, don't make the mistake that I just made. We're going to put a bobble in the middle of each of the shells all the way around. We're going to work the 2 doubles with 1 chain in between where the bobbles are, and in the corners we do the 4 doubles with the 3 chains. So I'll just work around to the end of this row and then I'll show you the next row that follows. But this is basically now the pattern that you're just going to repeat until the blanket's as big as you want it to be. I'll just work the next bobble there. Into the top, chain to finish and anchor down with a slip stitch, 2 chain, and now we can do the corner doubles and chains. Chain 2 after the corner and we're back into the shell for the next bobble. We get round to the final bobble, which falls into the last shell here. We slip stitch back into the chain space there, and we're going to work the 2 chain, and then we're going to join into the starting stitch there with a slip stitch. Cut off the yarn and pull the end through. So these are the 2 rows now that are going to form the whole of the pattern. The next row again is going to be the shells, and again we can start anywhere. I like to start in a different place each time so that all of the ends are not all going to be in the same place, and I would normally start in one of the V's above the bobble that we had, not from the previous row, from the one before that. So each pattern repeat that we do, we're going to have more of the shells, and obviously we're going to have more of the bobbles. I'll show you on the one that I'd made before that we've got 1 bobble on each side on the first round. The second one we're going to have 2 on each side. On the third we'll have 3, and then 4, and so on. So each round that you do with the shells we're going to have an extra bobble. So to start, just to remind you of this next row, I'm going to do a standing double to start the shell, plus another 2 doubles into that same chain space, because we're on a side panel. We do a chain 1 and then 3 more doubles into that same chain space to form the first shell. Again, don't forget we need to anchor down the bobble, so we're going to do a single into the back of the bobble, and then straight over into the next chain 1 space we're going to work the next shell, which is 3 doubles, chain 1 and 3 doubles. Because we're in the corner where we've done the 4 doubles here, we're going to do a single into the next chain space, and then we'll work a shell into the following chain space. Chain 1 and 3 doubles. There will always be the 2 shells in the corner on each of the shell rows. So we've got 1 above this bobble, and then we've got 2 in the corner. We'll do 1 above this bobble here, but in between we need to do the single into the back of the bobble that we've done on the previous row, and then straight over into the next V-stitch there and work another shell. So each of the shells on the following row will have a bobble in the 1 chain space there. We're going to just anchor a single into the back of the bobble, and then we're back over to the next corner, and again we'll have 2 shells in the corner. And I'll just carry on all the way around this row, working 1 shell above the bobble and 2 shells in each corner until we get round to the other side. We're back round to the last corner. Don't forget to put the single in that chain space between the 2 shells in the corner. We'll work the last shell. Chain 1 in between the 3 doubles there, anchor down at the back of the double, and then again we're just going to join with a slip stitch into that first stitch of the row, snip off your yarn and pull through. So there we've got the 2 pattern repeat rows. So you're always going to work the 2 shells in each corner and then 1 shell in each of the V-stitches, remembering that the next row that we do, you'll have your corner in white, you'll have your bobble in the centre of the shell, then you'll just do the 1 V-stitch, the bobble and a V-stitch. So again, the following row you'll have more shells each time around. So there we have the bobbles and shells pattern. I do hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. I hope to see you again soon. Thanks for watching. Bye.